is a curious time. This is a time, comment the man, comment the moment. This is a time to hit the jihadist Islamic terrorism that is ravaging not only Nigeria, the sub-region, the West African sub-region. This is the time to crush it in the head. And if we miss this time, we do not know when we'll have another president in America that will be interested in this issue. That is why this petition has become important. Because one of the things that every politicians want to do, both in America and across the world, particularly in democracies, they want to act on behalf of majority of the people. When there are many competing interests for the United States, we believe that if we have 1 million signatures compiled with a letter asking President Trump to please act on the terrorism in Nigeria, not what is going on, not the Christmas Day bombing, which we are very grateful for, but to really face it frontally and crush it. To do that, we believe as a democracy, we must show public support to back that action. And that is the very important reason why every Nigerian, every African, every lovers of peace, both Christians, Muslims, that want people to have the right of belief, the right to practice whatever faith you choose in peace. If you support that, go to savenigeriagroup.org and sign the petition. It takes you 60 seconds and you'll be done with it. And what are we going to do with that information? We're going to compile it and go to the White House on June 20th. We're going for a mega rally to call for an end to terrorism in Nigeria. And we are tagging the rally, Save Nigeria Rally. We believe Nigeria, like our name goes, needs saving because the status quo is not sustainable. Something has to give. We cannot continue to have our people killed ruthlessly, massacred, and people just move on. No, we're saying that this has to stop. And that petition is how you take action. Thank you, Marcel.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You know, it has been a ray of hope right from the day Donald J. Trump made that famous statement that he's going to come into Nigeria with guns blazing to wipe away those terrorists in Nigeria. Donald Trump is the president, and he have advisors and people he delegates things to do, like Randy Moore and the rest of them, especially concerning the issue of Christian genocide in Nigeria. People are asking, sir, what about if people around Donald Trump now try to tell him not to take action and so on and so forth?
Yeah. So well, thank you, Marcel. There's a very big misconception that there are people around President Trump who may want to advise him not to do what he has decided to do. Well, that means those people do not know President Trump. President Trump is an independent thinker. He makes his own decisions. He picks people to work for him that agrees with his point of view. He does not really accommodate contrarian views as well. That is, some people criticize him for that, but he has a vision for the world. One of his vision for the world is that everyone should be allowed to practice their faith in any country they choose to live. He does not want this idea that because some people choose to force themselves on others, they can kill people. Normally, President Trump's advisors, the Congress members, they will say their own opinion, but President Trump already knows what is happening in Nigeria. And he said in December last year, 2025, and he says, what is happening in Nigeria is a genocide. But yet, he appointed Riley Moore from West Virginia to lead a delegation to go and find out and get back to him. That has been done. They've gone to Nigeria. They submitted a report. But before sending them, he had already concluded that it is a genocide. Exactly. It's as though he arrived at the answer and said, okay, go find out if I'm wrong. And they came back to say you are not wrong. It is actually even worse than you're thinking, particularly in the Middle Belt states where places, millions of people have been driven from their home. And what they tell us, it is that it is the jihadists who are professing expansion of Islam, radical Islam, I should say, through violence is what is driving people away. It's not climate change. It's not communal clash. Because again, when you listen to some people, they tell you, oh, it's two people fighting. No, it's not two people fighting. It is a terror group that wants to continue what they've been doing for years, funded by several groups, including international actors, to go and displace the local communities in Nigeria, particularly places like in Benue, in Plateau, in southern Kaduna and Kwara, and now it's spreading down. I'm from Edo State, and I can tell you right now, our state is beginning to see encroachment of the Fulani militia who are driving people away from communities in Ovia Northeast is one of our impacted areas, and Edo North people are paying tax now to go to farm. I'm telling you, Edo State in the southern part of Nigeria. So this stuff is not
Mm.
ending up north. It is spreading down south. That is why I, as a Nigerian living here in America, have said we are going to focus on this issue and we're going to create awareness about what is happening. That is why on June 20th, we want to bring out Nigerians across the board to say this issue must come before the American people. They must know what's happening. We are not here to deny or throw blames about. The perpetrators say who they are. They are a radical Islamic jihadist group. That's what they say. And their plan is to use violence to kill the Christian population. And those Muslims that don't agree with them are also being killed. The semantics about who is being killed is besides the point. Nobody should be killed in their home country for the faith they choose to believe.
Thank you so much, Mr. Stephen. You know, I was surprised when the Nigeria government started denying that there is no Christian genocide, that there is this, there is no this, because I have a video of Lai Mohammed, who was the former Minister of Information under the last administration of Muhammadu Buhari. Just to take your 1 minute, listen to what this man said.
But in the wake of a renewed onslaught by tireless military against Boko Haram and their ISWAP allies in recent times, the insurgents have apparently changed their strategy. They have started targeting Christians and Christian villages for a specific reason, which is to trigger a religious war and throw the nation into chaos. Apparently, they have realized how emotive and divisive religion can be when exploited by unscrupulous persons. Lest I am misunderstood, let me repeat. The insurgents who delude themselves as Muslims, whereas they are nothing more than bloodthirsty, rapacious killers who subscribe to no religion, have recently started targeting Christians with a view to sowing the seed of confusion and discord between the two great religions. This is not to say that they have stopped attacking Muslims, but they seem to.
I think you understand what he said. So he admitted that these people are directly, they made it a policy to conduct a direct attack on Christians. Though he said that they did not stop attacking Muslims, of which we all believe that yes, we know that yes, Muslims are being attacked, especially the Muslims who don't have the brand of their Islam. So we all were surprised when we started seeing people denying that there is no Christian genocide here and there. So the issue here, sir, if since we are already making move and appealing to international communities as well, so many people are saying that it is also important that we should look also inwardly within ourselves. How can we help ourselves apart from appealing to international communities as well, regards to equipping vigilante group, or let everybody like us, like me. I went to training, I have my own gun, so I joined a vigilante group. So what can we do? How can we sensitize people more to making sure that at least if you are above 18 years as a man in Nigeria, you should go to training, join vigilante group, join NFS, then police have automatic way of licensing gun for every vigilante person, but not that sophisticated gun, compassion, that kind of hunter's gun. A lot of people may underrate it that, oh, those guns don't have firepower. But I have seen so many villages, especially in northern Nigeria, that defeated Boko Haram because they're in possession of this gun that people are underrating. So how can we make this move? Either sensitizing people or to let people know that you have a right to live. You've got to defend yourself. What are we going to do
Yeah,
about this?
very interesting, Marcel. What you are talking about is something that we in America sometimes we get confused about it, particularly Americans that have not visited Nigeria before, because in America, like we do have the
Mm,
Second Amendment right here to protect yourself, right? And
yeah.
the argument around should people be armed, vigilante group, youths to protect themselves, has been something that our organization, Save Nigeria Group USA, have brought up before Congress members. before State Department actors and civil society here. Our argument is that these terrorists and terrorism is escalating because the government is either unable or unwilling to protect the people. More so, the vast territory of Nigeria do not have enough men to even man each village or community. And when you leave people without arms, you make them sitting ducks. So that conversation is ongoing because it's around the issue of legality. Nigeria does not have a law to bear arms, and the government strictly regulates vigilante and the rest of them. Some time ago, our organization raised issue around the MAC which is the Meyetti Allah cattle breeders group, who has arms from the Nigerian government's office. And we were saying, can you arm other group? Can you name other groups you've armed? Why are you arming only these guys who have been labeled to be part of the perpetrators? In terms of people protecting themselves, I think all Nigerians at this time, particularly Nigerians that are on the front lines, should be asking well, I wanted to say Congress members, but their representatives in the National Assembly to make laws for communities to protect themselves. I heard that there was a effort to make state policing legal so that each state will have their own police. That is some conversation that came from the United States. We, through our advocacy and many other groups, we've been asking for the decentralization of the Nigerian policing, because here in America we have state police, county police, local sheriffs. Of course, there's still the federal police. We can replicate that in Nigeria, and it will go a long way. Since the sad part is the centralized policing in Nigeria, like what happened in Easter at Jos in the Aguarucuba area, it was just in front of a police station, and they did nothing. Why? They probably have orders somewhere to stand down or whatever the case. If there were people from that area armed as official police, local police, they will be able to confront and save lives. So I agree that we must find ways to localize security, but there's also a need to regulate this because some people would take advantage and become criminals and become a problem, a menace, particularly when you have poverty increasing, when you have people who are not well educated and you give them even a pump action, it could become an armed robber and increasing security. However, the status quo is not sustainable. There has to be a regulated, trained group locally to be able to defend each community, because at the end of the day, self-defense is a universal right, and Nigerians should be allowed to protect themselves.